Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. We got some big news for Palantir Technologies as they have just announced today a multi-million-dollar partnership expansion. We're going to be getting into the details and how AIP is starting to really take over the globe. In addition, you got Dan Ives that has raised their price target for Palantir. Typically, he's been bullish, and we've seen the price that has continued to actually follow his price targets. It's going to be interesting to see what he set for the new number. And on top of that, we also have some interesting predictions after PLTR has joined the S&P 500. We have a lot of things to break down. Of course, talking about price action and what's happening in the market today. We have a market overview that is incredibly important, especially after that federal funds rate was cut last week. What does that mean for the future? Because we have the first red day, especially for the S&P 500, which historically trades in the red in September. Now, if you're a new or returning viewer, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm collecting all the data, and you guys know it, dispatching it to you. Now, what you see here at Palantir Technologies closes here at 37.12, kind of consolidates on the day, and this is not necessarily a bad thing, considering with the broader markets, you got down just a little bit here, trickling in the red for the Dow Jones and the S&P 500, NASDAQ just a little trickle in the green there, but a lot of consolidation, finally having a red day. And this is after we saw, of course, the run up and price accumulation in terms of market cap after the federal funds rate was cut. Now, talking about Palantir, trading volume actually decreases. We've been seeing it in about the high 70 to 80 millions. We see here at 46 million, but still doing a good job consolidating and kind of cooling off at the 37s. That is not a bad price action because I was picturing more of an actual correction here in the short term, which could still happen. Just talked about this video yesterday, but let's talk about some of the partnerships that could be holding it up. Now, APA Corporation, they're the ones that expands their partnership with Palantir to really leverage their AI technology across their oil and gas operations. Now, if you guys don't know what APA is, this is a leading oil and gas company. And today they announced a multi-year, multi-million-dollar extension to their enterprise agreement that originally was signed in 2021. You can see they like working with Palantir, the fact they're spending millions of dollars to expand on this partnership. Now, the agreement builds on the work deployed across APA's global portfolio over the past few years and introduces new capabilities that Palantir has came out with, aka the AIP software. And what the Palantir's head of energy and natural resources came out to say is basically saying they founded Palantir to help tackle the world's most important challenges. And they're honored to extend their partnership with APA as they continue to play a key responsibility and a key player in producing oil and natural gas. Looking forward to expanding their partnership. So great to see here, and especially a leading oil and gas company, Palantir, and we've seen their involvement with BP and their kind of relationship that we've seen there. Different large clients are starting to see what the power of Palantir can do in terms of bringing productivity and a benefit to their company. And I think we're only going to see this expansion across the board. Now, Dan Ives comes here on Twitter, raising his PLTR price target to $45, reflecting the increasing confidence in the enterprise-driven AIP strategy. Now he's saying here with a clear game changer for the Palantir story. Bullish on PLTR going forward as recent AIP checks now show more enterprises are heading down this path. And that's a clear example of what you see here in today's announcement with this expansion of this partnership. More enterprises are heading down this path. So you can see here about APA, forward-looking statements, things are looking well. Now, in terms of an interesting article here, talking about is Palantir Technology stock headed to $100. Now, we talked about 38 being a high price for PLTR. That's in the short term. And what we're talking about the possible potential for a small correction due to some of the bigger macroeconomic variables in line at Palantir sitting at these yearly highs. Now, talking about $100, that's a long ways away. However, we're talking a few years down the line. So now that it's joined the S&P 500, first of all, you got a Wall Street analyst here that is thinking that Palantir hitting $100 is a possibility. And saying that here, you got Hillary Kramer saying that Palantir is the absolute favorite, noting that the company is a true artificial intelligence company. What they mean by that is a lot of different companies are now incorporating the word AI into their companies just for the buzzword. Think of the metaverse a few years ago. The buzzword that a lot of people are trying to gain some of that market capitalization by marketing that buzzword across their products. Right here, Palantir is an actual artificial intelligence company by actually bringing true utility to its clients. I think that utility factor is incredibly important, especially with the AI buzzword that's being thrown around like crazy right now. Now, they go on to say that this analyst goes on to note many of the colleagues, they continue to underestimate Palantir given the strong revenue, the growth, the backlog, investment banks. Their opinion right here is saying that Palantir can easily be a $100 stock. And they're really highlighting on things in terms of the revenue jump that we've seen recently and going into the earnings. That's about, we're not going to say about 1 month away, a little bit over 1 month in terms of trading sessions. Earnings per share still sitting at about that 9 cents with 11 earnings per share bullish revisions in the last 90 days. This has really been great for PLTR. And in terms of the anticipation, I think the next earnings, in my opinion, is still having a positive outlook. Now we'll wait and talk about earnings more and focus it more on terms of predictions when that date does come a little bit closer. Now, what are we seeing? What are we seeing in the market right now? And that is the Dow Jones came down a little bit, like we talked about, snapping its 4-day win streak. S&P 500 retreats a little bit. Now, notable, we got some losers on the day, including General Motors, Ford, both falling more than 4% after Morgan Stanley here had announced a downgrade. On top of that, you do have tech that was actually on the reverse side of things. You got HP advancing more than 5% following an upgrade here. And you also have strong artificial intelligence data center command has been a positive catalyst. We'll be talking about NVDA right here as they jumped up 2.2%. This could have also helped bring its market capitalization. We saw that crossing the $3 trillion mark, but for the broader market because of its weight on the broader market. Now, the averages are on track for a positive September. And this is not what we've historically seen because we do have the fears of the slowing economy. Those are still lingering, of course, with the rate cut. But historically, we've seen September been typically a bad month for the broader market. Right now, the central bank move on interest rate. This has really helped, I think, the S&P 500 defy what the historical patterns have been. The fact that we got that first 50 basis point cut, we saw a lot of momentum and buying pressure coming into the market, getting more into bigger types of purchases from both a retail and more of an institutional side of things. So now that the central bank has really begun to lower those interest rates, it's going to be interesting if those interest rate cuts will still continue because that is still showing signs of the economy not doing as well as it once was. On top of that, you have new home sales that have also slipped 4.7% in August to 716 from the July's revised reading of 751,000. We're going to be seeing also weekly jobless claims on Thursday. This is going to be another big indicator of how the economy is trending in terms of its health, but also in terms of how is inflation going to follow course. That's going to be a big gauge on what the Fed is going to do for the remaining of the year regarding those interest rate cuts. With NVIDIA, we actually see, like we talked about, jumping up about 2.2% today. NVIDIA has been doing slightly well in the previous few days. You can see video here at $123 with the aftermarket up over 3%. Now, one of the big things that we saw is the industry report predicts an unprecedented levels of investment into the AI data centers. And this was a big thing from the annual technology report here publishing, basically saying that companies will need to make unprecedented levels of investment in technology infrastructure to stay on top of the artificial intelligence boom. Basically saying the demand is right there and the data centers are going to have to keep up. If more companies are purchasing chips from data centers, obviously that is more bullish for the semiconductor, chip stocks. We're talking about NVIDIA. We're talking about AMD. We're talking about all the other stocks that do have a reliance on the performance on how the data center sales are doing. So that's what I have for you guys. What do you think about this bullish news for PLTR? Do you think it's going to be a good catalyst to help it push into the 40s? Do you think that's a possibility now with this news? Or do you think this is still kind of the, I want to say, short-term top, and we could see a little bit of a pullback? Let me know what you think down in the comments. Peace out. Take care. Have a wonderful day.